All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Motus Prodcast. Normally we do a bit of a fluffy intro and chat some shit, but you know who's on this one and we know what you want to listen to. So without further ado, Kelan, can you hit the button? Because I can't reach.
Yeah,
I got stubby arms.
Yeah,
Toby Segar, let's just do it. And then we'll just fade ourselves back up. And now Toby's here.
Whoa!
Yeah. we've never tried to do it that smoothly before, but we thought,
I thought you did all that in post.
We used to, and then we bought this, and now it just means that we literally hit export on this and then upload it.
Oh,
because
naughty.
Fuck editing an hour-long audio file. Like, some people go through and they chop out all the ums and the ers, but unless you say something that's going to get you cancelled, we will not edit this.
Yeah, well, but that, I think, is what stopped us doing it, really. We were like, we're not putting enough effort in on the ground and we're not going to edit them, so we need to find a fine balance, and we never did, so we'll do it one day.
Yeah, it is good fun. How you doing?
Oh, yeah, good. We're making a fucking game. Chuffed about it.
I know, yeah. You just come off the back of another podcast.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Are you...
It's with a place called the Flow Centre, some dude in Australia. It's actually quite interesting. I was one of those ones I wish I knew more about it before I jumped on, because while I was on it, I popped onto their Instagram and saw loads of cool stuff about flow state. So I was like, I could have actually...
so it's not it's not parkour, it's flow state stuff.
Yeah, just this dude that he manages or trains up and helps athletes like psychologically, but he's with some really cool climbers and stuff, and I didn't realise that until I was on it. I was on it with him, and he was asking certain questions. You get the odd question. It's like, you get it. You actually get it. And the moment you realise they get it, I'm like, I wish I prepared. Like, this is way
it's not
better.
like some little small thing.
This can be way better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sick.
Nah, but it was good. It's good.
So your brain's not too addled from talking for an hour.
No, hopefully they're two different topics. So it should be all right.
I always find after these you're a bit like, To the listeners, we're obviously, I mean, we've known Toby for like over a decade now. We could talk everything for hours and hours, but given the big announcement, we're basically going to hone in on game stuff. So Kelan plays, you've played a lot of games, predominantly I'd say like Call of Duty style stuff, right?
Yeah, but Skate as well. This is very exciting.
Yeah, because you played on Skate. I grew up on Tony Hawk's, and I've also played all the like Uncharted, the kind of movement-based games, I guess. So we've got a lot of questions that, so.
What about you?
Yeah,
actually, that's a good question. What was your...
Yeah, not, I don't have a world of experience. So Josh and, Max and Benj have Max more so gotten into Warzone and stuff like that, as you probably know.
We need to talk about this,
Well, I reckon they do like banging live streams if they did it. I reckon it would be the funniest thing.
We got tipped off about this game a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, because I replied to Max's story about Warzone, and he was like, waiting for the Storror game or something.
Because Kelan was
I was like, what? As a joke, and then he said it again.
With like a winky face.
In the same message, and I was like, okay, maybe that's coming.
And then the second we saw like the old, kind of announcement of the year to the tease on Twitter or whatever, I was like, it's got to be the game. Like, there's no, unless it's just like a fake hype announcement of the year, like, it's got to be a game. If Max has said it twice.
Yeah, but I thought that was a bit of a push. I thought it was a bit of a push, but it is. So that's it. That's really cool.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. We literally were contacted by this team that have essentially just assembled themselves.
Yeah.
They're all independent, just like buddies, as if we were going to make a film or do anything ourselves. Same kind of thing, but the game world version. They basically said, you've got a following, we've got the ability to make it, let's combine the two and see if it works. And apparently it's working, so
it's working. So I mean, I was going to ask, how did it come about? But I saw on the Kickstarter page that the main developer, who, am I right in thinking he used to be a professional football player?
I think it's a joke, but
because I googled his name and there was some like random webpage that said something about football, And I was like he used to be like a Premier player or something. And I was like, is this the same fucking guy? Like,
I mean, if he is,
because then in the Kickstarter he says like, "I'll let my football skills do the talking" or something.
Yeah, I think that's the joke.
Yeah,
I think so.
It kind of threw me off. But anyway,
whereas Keelan's like, if he's a pro, you better know that shit. I've got that away. I just don't know his surname. That's the issue. I can't. What's his surname?
I can't know what it was. I was just trying to do a bit of like kind of finding out, trying to be a professional podcast host.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
no, I think he's just he's been in it like 30 years. He's worked at all of the top flipping. EA, all the other ones. Again, if I knew more about games, I'd be able to reel some off. But
that's fun.
It's pretty cool how much he knows.
So did he literally just see a Storror video and then was like, did he reach out immediately or did he assemble the team prior to reaching out? Because I
think it all happened kind of at once. So he like gauged our interest, and as that was happening, was getting the team together. Like, this might be happening. Then we went to Kingston, I think, and just literally sat in a park in lockdown in a big massive circle. It was like all the parkour guys and then all the gamers. And it was a weird dynamic, man. At first, it was strange, but it was really cool. This guy Dado just like gets it. It's so good, and his team are just like on board because we're so hyped about it. I think that's a big part of the motivation for everyone is how like psyched we all are. It's like, like, do you know what I mean?
Well, it's like there's so much scope of potential that it's not just like, let's make a cool, fun game. It's like because I think looking at something like Tony Hawk, you see the cultural relevance of where that game could go. So it's not just like, let's make a thing that loads of kids are going to enjoy, like Assassin's Creed. It's like this could genuinely be like game changing, so it's sick. So I mean, because the Kickstarter, he said he saw the Hamburg video was his first Storror video, which was what, like 3 months ago or something.
I've still yet to clear that up. I don't know if he found us that soon after. It might have.
So this is
I'm not sure.
Moving fast.
Oh mate, big time. Like since the first meeting, he I think within the first half an hour, he told us the potential like time scale of the whole thing, and we were all just like, "What? That sounds a bit too good to be true," kind of thing. And already, like, we were supposed to announce on the 1st, and then Sasha himself, you probably heard, and it was all delayed anyway. It was just like we hadn't worked out certain stuff, and then we pushed that back, so now hopefully we can now keep up with it. I think they put down a retrospective timeline.
Because that said that said like I think like playable demo or something. I'm assuming like an internal one for you guys by December or something. Like
so they'll have a little like course hopefully by then, with a playable character that hopefully has elements of our motion capture integrated, so that we can simulate what it will feel like at least to play.
Obviously, we'll go on to that, but that's obviously the most kind of important thing, isn't it?
Number one, how it feels. It's got to be satisfying to fail, to succeed. It's got to feel good to do to play. It's got to feel at all levels as you progress. It's got to be just that right level of difficulty. The whole shebang. There's so much. It's mad.
It's so crazy.
The intricacy and the potential is just insane.
I feel like it could be even harder to make than a skateboarding game.
I was thinking this
because I feel like parkour has more styles than skateboarding. That sounds like really weird, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different body types, and body types kind of matter for parkour.
It's tough. Obviously, I don't know much about actually skateboarding. I'm really bad at skateboarding, but like actually doing the sport. But you could be right, because you're just. I know what you mean. Person to person, you're locked to a board. You have these tricks, and like you're fixed to a certain. There's always there's a consistent element in skateboarding all the time, isn't there? That board, and it's like that.
They can look different, but it's like parkour is so unique to the body type. Weirdly, you know,
two skateboarders doing the same sport, right? The two different parkour athletes. To some eyes, could be doing different sports. Couldn't they? It's like that.
Exactly. 100%. So we kind of wrote some notes, and it kind of goes from like the more boring stuff through to the more fun stuff purely because just, I don't know, it was the way it worked out.
Yeah.
So obviously you've gone through as a Kickstarter, which is already fucking almost funded, which well, a couple of things surprised me was 55 grand doesn't sound crazy amounts, but I know that in a lot of crowdfunding situations, you kind of set, let's say you actually need 70 grand, you kind of set a lower target to overfund because is that kind of more what needs to happen here?
There's a few like grey areas of like what's better or worse, I think, on Kickstarter. Like, if you hit a certain percentage, I'm still not sure if this is the thing. I was chatting with Drew about it yesterday. If you hit a certain percentage in the first 24 hours, you're more likely to be pushed by Kickstarter to the front of like certain pages and stuff.
You're already on the front page of the video game thing, I think.
Yeah. So that was our second big boost. The first was like 80% was coming from YouTube, 90% was all coming from YouTube. And then we hit a point, I think, the next morning or that night where it flipped over as Kickstarter pushed it. And it was like 20% YouTube, 80% Kickstarter or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was that homepage. And luckily the guys at their end sussed that was really important. And that was why we pushed it hard that first moment there, that quick drop. We were like, that is something we are quite good at, is just pumping hype out and just getting it up. Like,
well, you've got the numbers now to like drop a bomb. Like you can very much like
the trailer was so hype as well.
Did it feel all right? I was so worried it didn't do the job. I was we were wondering if it should be more upbeat or more like us. But
I think the downfall, to be honest, was more that if you hadn't, almost if you'd run it as a YouTube premiere with no title. Because it was that you obviously did it in the like but it was like, oh, okay, they're making a video game.
Already,
But it was good. Like everyone was so excited in the trailer. So it like worked.
Cool.
Was Kickstarter like the only option? Like, did you put that forward? Did they suggest it? Were there kind of any other like, oh, we could go and get private investment or self fund or whatever? Like,
so that the bigger developers will be coming in down the line. So 55 grand doesn't nearly make a game that's good enough to like play and get out there, basically. Kind of my thinking, I think so. What is it? 20% of that is for motion capture suits alone. So we'll be getting those. And the reason I was like, surely you rent that stuff, right? Surely you rent the studio, you rent that thing, you rent some dude that sits on a computer and logs it all. But he was literally like, you're going to destroy those suits. You are going to destroy them. You need to own them. And you might need two because you're going to destroy them.
At least there's no like, you don't have to worry so much, I guess.
Yeah,
exactly. You can do it properly. Like,
I mean, that's the beauty of the whole process, is that these guys are literally just like, you know what you want to play. We know what's doable. We'll just essentially bounce back and forth until we end up with that final conclusion or whatever. But the creative control is just mad. Like we're going to IMAX this week, I think.
Sick.
So hopefully we can to map it. So we'll hopefully be able to recreate it from images and videos and stuff, and then make it playable. And it's going to be gone soon, isn't it? So that's another side of it all.
Is that confirmed now?
I don't know. I've seen some like some designs and shit. Have you guys seen it? Like the new layout of IMAX.
Like, the one that I've seen only takes out IMAX 2 because they're widening the roundabout.
Right, maybe that's it. I remember seeing like a graphical mate.
Yeah, you got to do the dash pretty soon.
No, I don't know how if there are any dates or anything, but I remember I've seen a graphical remake of like the roundabout, and the underpass is gone, and it kind of steps down, and like the spots.
Shit, that's savage. Different to what I saw.
New spots, no spots. Was it?
I don't know. Some bullshit waterfall shit, but I don't know. No, I don't know. Don't take that for word, listeners. But
that's the benefit of a game, is like you can keep
do that. Alive in some way.
Reinvent Junkies. Is it Junkies? I never trained there.
Junkies Jungle.
So I was going to ask. So like, you're going to try and do IMAX to scale, basically.
we want it all to, we want whatever spot we have in that exists, we want it to be pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And the dream is literally like, one day we have a video where it's like, I came up with this line in the game, I'm going to go try it today. That is just the dream.
I got bodies.
I would not have seen this line if I hadn't played hours on this game. You know? If that
that's
starts
so
happening,
fucking true.
that is another level of like, whoa, you know? Wow. You can literally like, rainy day, I'm going London tomorrow. Let's go train at the spot quick, see what we can come up with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the dream.
And then you realise your video game stats are better than your real life, and you're like, oh, not that powerful.
I made it in the game. I'm just going to go for it.
So before we get on to, there's more stuff around that, but one thing I was really curious about is how the fuck did you name it? Because that, I can imagine, is one of those things where like,
that's the hardest thing, I think.
You're just like, it decides it forever now, like, because if it is to go massive, then it's like, it's there. So
it was weirdly quick and scary. Like it was like Storror Parkour Pro, and everyone in the chat was like, I like that, and then it was sort of happened real quick, and, and then the date was coming up, and we were like, is that it? Like, and I think it's the reason it wasn't in the script as well, so we could we never actually say it in the video. It's just the title, so that's why it was left out of that. But I thought the same, and then but the moment it came up, it was like, that's a game. That does sound like a game. That feels like a game. It's like the thing.
Because I was thinking, like, is it going to be like Challenge or like Storror Parkour Odyssey? Well, I like the Storror and Parkour were the two, like, you knew that was going to be in there somehow. But it was like, there needs to, because just calling it Storror Parkour would feel a little too simple in a way. So that was the thing that was really curious. Was like,
well, I can maybe even, one sec, I'll see if I search that, if it will come up with the other ones.
Oh, okay.
I'll just have a look. Interesting.
While you're doing that, what happens, I Googled yesterday, I think it was, like, Storror Parkour game to find the Kickstarter page, and it gave me Kick Track, which is like it shows stats of different things. And it basically shows that at this current trajectory, you're trending towards, like, by the time the Kickstarter ends, 480 grand. Obviously, that's based off of the first 24 hours, so it'll probably... But what happens if you do end up with like a few $100 grand? Does that just kind of make things easier?
Exactly, yeah. It means we can pay developers salaries earlier. And
sick.
That's pretty much it. So there's going to be a team of guys on the mechanics of the game, on the nitty gritty. There's basically, I think they break it down second to second gameplay, minute to minute gameplay, and then hour to hour or something. And that essentially means like pressing X to kick off that wall is your second to second, right? And then you got minute to minute is like how it goes, what's your objective, what's the next, like how does the map, like whatever, blah blah blah. And then see, the developers are going to listen to this, they're going to be like, you're all wrong, mate, you're butchering this. And then the next one is like how the mission goes, like what the next one. So it's the nitty gritty bit, which is just going to be insanely time consuming. I'm assuming these guys are like cave gremlins that just are fine staring at their screen for 24 hours.
I was reading the comments on the Kickstarter because people are asking questions, and is it Dado? Yeah, he was responding to some of them, and he was like, somebody was like, oh, I'm concerned about the amount of money or something. And he gave like quite a comprehensive reply, and in that he was like, sort of, we love our work, like 20-hour days are standard, 16 hours when we're feeling tired or something.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
man.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's genuine. Like so far, like the graphics were used in the video, in the promo, Chungking remake, is from scratch, which is why it's still not quite there. It's literally from scratch. They've created a rig, and they are literally keyframing the knee, the elbow,
based off of like video stills and things of the spot and everything.
Of your slow-mo. So they have that there, and they're like, right, let's make the jump section. Then they have to make the takeoff, and then they have to blend the two with a different animation, and like simple stuff like people that can't see me right now, my arms are straight behind my back. When you land a precision, your arms come down, right? They take that impact and they're out the front, right? But they stay relatively straight most of the time, unless you've overdone it.
Yeah.
But if you set that keyframe and you set the end keyframe, your arms come through the middle like this.
Oh, so you've got to...
Oh my God.
Simple stuff like that is like, right, now we've got to make that from scratch. Do you know what I mean? You've got to go through it. And the first animation was a bit dodgy. It was like the takeoff arm swing the timing was just off, but you could tell just because you've seen a million before, right? So then I got on Zoom with them and I was on for like 2.5 hours, and even I was like, wow, I don't know even what to change now, because it looks wrong, but I don't know why. I can't work out why. And that's why it's so choppy in the video, obviously. Because, and then hopefully we got across that it's their early graphics and early mechanics.
I think like given the timeline, people are fairly aware of that.
Yeah, so hopefully then it literally comes down to drag and drop. Once we've motion captured, it's literally like,
is that
like take off 1, take off 2, take off 3, and you just slap them all in,
really?
and then
crazy.
The difficulty is making them link. Apparently, that's where the time comes in. So if you've got
between two like motion capture recordings,
that's it. Yeah. So some of it will still be from scratch. So that's where the time comes in. I think.
Gaps.
And then creating the controls for a million different outcomes, and like making it so you can still look around, but you can still use that analog stick could be used for movement, or it could be used to look around. And it's like, how do you? And it's just those guys are freaking out about that, and we just like we want to chase our mates around the open world.
What have I got?
No, all this early stuff is
this was me
your
just
best
thinking
knowledge.
Of,
all I'm thinking about is stupid video games.
So one thing that I was thinking about in the shower, because that's apparently what happens, is obviously you're not going with the big studios, smaller team, more control, etc., etc. In let's say I hire Storror for a video or whatever, and then I sell that. You guys, or I don't know, basically when you do all the work in a project, you get the lion's share, because essentially you are doing the work. Without going into sort of financial specifics and things, like how does this kind of situation work, where obviously you are the brand, you are the doorway into this huge community and the growth potentially from there, but the developers are the guys doing the 20-hour days sweating over that.
I mean, I think, like I said before, it's just being able to appreciate we can appreciate their value and they can appreciate ours, and we've and it's just been super transparent about like we will be putting in the hours and you guys don't really have to. It's pretty much honest, just thing like that. Really, they understand that our reach and our influence and our input is all they need to execute it. If they didn't have that, they wouldn't be able to make a good parkour game, and if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have a chance of doing it at all. So, it's pretty much down the middle. We've done that pretty much. It's just like whatever successes are split down the middle, pretty much. Yeah,
nice.
And I'm assuming with a studio or something like a big thing, it could
change. Yeah, it could change or whatever.
If you'd gone with like a studio from off the bat, you'd kind of be like, oh, here's 5% of royalties or whatever. Like more chance to get fucked. Like,
I think the reason we didn't go through that is just because the process is just outrageous. It's like, as you can imagine, I think even there's even like mad licensing fees once the game exists and you want to get it on Microsoft or Sony. There's like, even once you're there, like there's still chance you can lose money, and it can fuck up because of the licensing and the processes. I don't know the details, obviously, but
it's a whole different world, isn't it? Like,
is it
crazy?
Is it more expensive making it for all platforms, because it's PC, Xbox, and PlayStation? Is that something that you had to think about?
I think PC is going to be the demo. So when people can play it early, that's only PC. I'm pretty sure. And then I don't know how testing goes with a console, because obviously you need to get it I'm assuming you play it through a PC with a controller, and that's how you do it.
I was thinking that because obviously people play like mouse and keyboard and things, but I don't know how you'd map a body to a mouse and keyboard. But you know,
these guys have. They've started talking on a few of the meetings. Like they've started talking about how they would do it, and it's like. We're all just like, well, that's over my head. I don't know what you're on about. Like,
you know what you're doing. I guess it's like when a muggle stands next to a parkour person talking about like how they're going to land a jump and things. Like they have no idea about the specifics.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they do clock it and simplify for us quite often, which is nice. But I've got Storror, Real Parkour, Storror Parkour Extreme, SPE. These are other names that I found. Storror Parkour 2. Storror Parkour,
Wow.
Parkour Rampage Edition or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And
immediately makes it sound hectic. Like
Rampage Edition.
And then Storror Parkour Pro came up. That was, looks like it was Benji's creation.
Oh,
good job,
nice.
Benj. And then, the classic, sounds good. And then suddenly it's locked forever.
Sick.
The thing I was going to say about the smaller studio as well, I was so scared that it was going to get turned into like a parkour game, but the developers would be like, oh, but it needs like kind of story that's not involved with parkour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like basically like most games, because it is a kind of scary thing, I guess, for them, because there hasn't been an actual just parkour game since like I think there was an old PlayStation game or something.
Free Runners or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So are you referring to like what could potentially be like the campaign mode or the story mode, and you end up doing bullshit missions that just have.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be sick, but also like
I don't know, you guys are thieves, and you've got to somebody,
just not realistic.
They add an element to the game that just is
not
how it is.
To do with parkour,
So I mean, you got to think of Skate, of SSX, those.
I love SSX.
We're essentially that's the goal. It's the parkour version of that, and the mechanics and controls are going to be what makes it. Fun, I hope, because like recently I got a new TV, so I dragged out Spider-Man, and I was like, I got to make it sunset all the time. You got to change the time of day and swing around the city with your tunes on, and if I can do that on this game, then I'm chuffed. I'm like, then whatever challenges and they're bonuses. As long as the mechanics and the controls are there, then we're happy. And then after that, we're going to see what sort of corners have to be cut or what we have to get rid of and all of that.
So, the team sort of seem to be more background of like lots of racing games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are they kind of? I mean, once again, I know nothing about whether or not somebody who's used to designing racing car motion can design like person motion. But like, are they confident? Are they got kind of?
Yeah, so I think what those references are the projects that they had really big parts in, right? Yeah. So they literally like created them or something, and they were at the forefront of those games, and that's what they're renowned for. But they've all worked, as staff, I guess, for a million other games where they are using third-person mechanics and all of this sort of stuff. So the experience is there. But I wondered that when I was cutting those in. I was like, there's a lot of car racing.
Like I love Burnout, but Burnout isn't parkour. Like,
exactly. But they're aware of that as well, and the difference, and that is apparently what's going to take the most time. Is getting that right.
So I'm guessing it's third person then.
In our heads, we're imagining it third person because the moment you take away that torso, it's like you can just float around.
You can just lob a camera and go, that was a 360.
It would feel so weird because when you actually do something in real life that involves a lot of spinning or something, I don't feel like you actually lock on to anything with your eyes. Yeah. So I don't know how in a game that would just look so odd.
Yeah. I mean, Mirror's Edge is the example. It's you just have these two arms that like come in and
all a vault is just doing that over a wall, and the arms kind of do a movement.
Exactly. Like, yeah. There's no person there, so yeah, there's some sequences in like Assassin's Creed. I think there was one of their earlier games was their best mechanics, I think, that they've had that Ubisoft made. And ever since, apparently, they haven't been as good. I wasn't aware of that, but I saw a screen recording of when it was good, and it's like Flow Nation. It's really? Pure nice, like little 180s and like sketches, and then like all the links are just fluid and smooth, and it's like, oh man, that's the. But they have 100 million behind them, so it's like fingers crossed we can the right guys rock up and we can make it happen. Henry Blue is involved. I mean, have you played his game? No.
It's fucking you can get it. You got a PlayStation, right?
Yeah, what? You can play on that?
It's through an app called Dreams that you have to, but you buy Dreams and then you play it through that, and it's fucking it's banging. Like the thing, because we obviously did a podcast with Henry earlier this year. This year's been hectic. I think it was the start of this year. And I mean, the crazy thing is, like, in that thing, we were talking about, like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a parkour get? Like, he's obviously making that thing.
Yeah.
I guess, what is his involvement? And also, I mean, personally, what's his involvement so far is kind of...
Yeah, so it came up straight away, when we were talking about the game, whatever, like, there's this guy that has been doing it through Dreams and whatever. We don't know to what level he'll be involved at this stage, but we just figured there's a guy passionate about making a parkour game here. Fucking, seems to be his sole focus and goal.
It's crazy.
So we figured, it's with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
We've got to get him involved in some
need to
respect.
have a chat with him, because it's one of those things where, like, every single thing you can think of, and in the last few months you have probably thought of, he's had that thought over the last 2 years times 10. Because when we did the podcast, we were like, oh, have you thought about doing this? He's like, like already working on it. Like,
and he's obviously already mapped it to a controller, so I don't know whether there'd be changes with this game or whatever. But it is hard, but I think you guys said, or at least it said in the Kickstarter thing, that the game would be like easy to learn but like hard to master or something.
So I mean, hopefully we can create that sense of freedom where you do just, you can do what you want, and if you are in a movement that you're not locked into it, like a lot of games, until that animation ends, you can ping out of it, or you can twist through, and like having that control is key. And I think it looks like he's managing that on Dreams. You can kind of can redirect and add in this stuff. But I think what the thing with Dreams, it's like for people that play games, it allows them to make the game. I think
it's a totally different thing.
That's the gist with Dreams. It's like an accessible program, right?
Exactly.
People can use to make. So when we used it, when we got it up, we've shown the developers that, and it's like, you're going to be doing that, you're going to be doing all of that, and then it's just coming down to the nitty gritty. It's like there's a level of control you have with Unreal Engine, and the next level of programming that is just
ridiculous.
Another level. So that's where his involvement is like a question at the moment. Like, he'll be involved, and we might, and like you say, it might just be a consultancy thing where we just get him in as ideas generation, and we just get him in to help brainstorm. And
because you probably can't map Dreams to Unreal, but he can probably go, well, this is how I did it in Dreams, and like these are the problems I encountered trying to.
I mean, the problems on a technical level, I think the problems with mechanics and controls will be like, I think, just the level of experience these guys have
will be ridiculous.
That's where the difficulty comes with getting Henry in. But I think his general consultancy will be so valuable. There's going to be a list of moves that he's just thought about way more than us lot, and stuff that is hard. But it'd be fascinating to talk to him about it. I think we didn't want to be like, yo, we've got this guy in, he's going to be doing this and this early days, and make that official statement, because we don't know how it's going to be made anyway, let alone how other people are going to be involved. It's like there's so many questions at this stage, but we really want to get him involved. It'd be wicked.
So in terms of like movement styles, obviously I would say sort of the majority of Storror themselves are fairly fundamental traditional parkour movement. Obviously, so you get bend and you get elements of creativity, but like, take Josh Malone, for example.
Yeah.
Is this game going to be something that he can relate to? Because I mean, his style of movement is just the polar opposite. Like, is that, that's going to be a whole nother challenge, surely?
Yeah, I mean, we miss a world of skill sets in the team for sure. There's a bunch missing. We like the idea of getting in baseline extra characters. So, like, you obviously have the 7 Storrors that you either you just get naturally introduced to as you get better, and you can play as them or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they're a set team that you just have at the start, and you cycle through them to learn the controls, then you get given your own character. And then there's just the whole question of like, all these other tricks that we need to get in that, you know, I can't be doing some wall triple full in the game. Like, it's just like I can't do that. Like, and no one in the team can, but we'd love to give the option to do that move.
That's a really good question. So, like,
surely you'd have to get in some people.
But wait, let's say
that's it. We'll get people in. Yeah. That's it. Like,
but so in the game, if you could learn wall triple full, surely if I then unlocked that with Zen or whatever, and then I moved across to your character, but I already had those skills, technically your character surely would still be able to do that.
It depends how we do it. Yeah, I don't know.
Because you could just say, no, Toby can't do that shit. Like,
I mean, I'm weirdly kind of down for that. I'm like, make it as real as possible to the point where it's like, you can do every move you want. You just haven't unlocked Zen yet. You can't do that yet. Like, you haven't unlocked him. Like,
a bit like Lord of the Rings, where like Legolas has abilities, and then you must have played the fucking. Did you ever play the Lord of the Rings games? Yeah. Like Legolas is sick with a bow, and then like Gimli, all that shit. Maybe
exactly. That's the dream. How that works and whether that gets like unsatisfying in some respect, then we'll work it out. But it's we'd love to do that. It'd be wicked, and be able to now with technology as well. You release one game, and it's upgradable pretty much forever. It's like DLC, you can just keep going. So it's like. Yeah, you could just release the. I saw a comment. It was like, I need Dom as a DLC and the Aussie map.
Dom's that. Surely, Dom's on this thing.
And like Motus, like it'd be sick to just be able to come across Motus in the game. Like,
so this was the question. I mean, separately, I was going to ask at the end: can I be an unlockable secret character that has consistently mediocre stats that you can't upgrade?
I mean, Kelan was saying you could be a little Easter egg where you go through the right door and it's just Giles and you just beat the shit out of him like, in the game.
I'm so good. I'm down for that.
And he's just this limp ragdoll. You just beat the shit out of him.
I'll take anything.
That was Kelan's idea. So we'll see. Yeah,
having loads of little things like that would be so.
Someone on the edge of a roof that you can't boot anyone else off a roof, but you can boot this guy off the roof.
So I guess this kind of brings us to like, so the big 2 skate games are Tony Hawk's and Skate. Skate is very much like, it's obviously not realistic, but ollieing requires a flick of the stick. In Tony Hawk's, it's an X. Which one?
Oh, you cut out.
I've still got audio. Yeah, I got you.
Have you? All right, sweet. Yeah, we want to make it like that. So, and that was actually put forward from the game guys, I think, first. Or
really? Wait, so like Skate? Yeah, okay.
Just that being able to feel like the timing and that is actually fairly similar to doing the sport. It would be wicked. Yeah.
On Henry's, it's left leg and right leg are on the triggers. So to run, it's bum.
It's funny because we thought of that, and then as I mentioned it, someone said that he does it like that.
It's striding, it feels very much like
boom.
Which is
sick. No, for sure. I think as many elements of the real sport we can implement to one controller would do for sure, especially when it comes to timing and things like that.
Sticking a jump.
That's where mechanics of the that will come in.
Sticking a jump is the one.
Like when you're in a game and you have to like lock into something. It'd be so nice.
The stick is probably
like.
We like the idea of being able to build up a flow state, so you can build up some sort of bar that allows you to slow down time and do this sort of thing.
Like a special bar in Tony Hawk's.
Yeah, so you get slow mode and you can like hone in on a rail or something, or like stuff like that. And again, idea of vertigo, like if you go up early you haven't been on roofs that much that your balance is shit and you could mess up. And then,
fucking cool.
So you build up that confidence, and you might not. That might be one of those things that is ongoing. Takes a few days to play the game and get that up. And before you know it, you go up and it says, "Oh, you've been on roofs enough now. You're relaxed and calm." And then stuff like that. That would be cool.
So it sounds like skate controls, but Tony Hawk's gameplay in terms of like being able to have fun stuff, like go into a room and beat the shit out of me. Because like Tony Hawk's obviously had like it has like a sort of go and jump the hobos and things like this. It's quite like comical in a way, and like there's a lot of. I mean, I guess Skate has got things, and it's got culture, like right? Like, has it got other teams and? Well,
I wanted to ask about clothing in the game anyway, but that's what Skate has. It has like all the different skate brands you can.
Oh, so both Tony Hawk and Skate have that.
Buy them and stuff. Oh, okay, Tony Hawk's as well.
Yeah. So is that like? Because obviously, when I kind of clocked on to the fact that it was going to be a Storror game and still didn't know if it was going to be console or whatever or iPhone and things. It's like, is it going to be just Storror, like very much like play as the 7 and it's like missions and things, or is it going to be kind of parkour but Storror are like the Tony Hawks or that equivalent?
Parkour's the goal. What you mentioned there, the 7-man doing missions, and you can do your time trials, get chased by another member or whatever. That's hopefully step 1. That's the basic game we want to make. The number one goal is the mechanics. Like I say again and again, it's just the mechanics of it, and then from there, hopefully, sky's kind of the limit in terms of like if we think an idea is cool, it just is a case of time. And even these guys are like, if we hit that deadline and the game's not where we want it, we'll keep going. That's their angle, which is nice. So they're on our schedule as well in that sense. They're cool to just let it fucking go until it's good.
That's sick.
Hopefully that remains the same, and down the line, a bigger development might come in, or bigger names, bigger companies or whatever, and maybe things will change, but at the moment we're just set our sights on what we want. And if you can bump into Motus, and then you have like a few missions where you slowly unlock them. And then the thing is, we were saying, like, if you can unlock like George, it'd be like a God. George McGowan would be
my God.
It'd be like a flying car cheat, wouldn't it? It'd be like So but that's the dream. Like, if we could get it to the point where it's like, say in a year's time, the game's established, people like the game, whatever, and we can just release, like, boom, you got 10 unlockable characters. Go Scandrick, you can now do descents. Try this car park out. Like, that.
Because I'm assuming you can just get people in if you then own the mocap suits. And do these guys have their own studio then?
They have all the stuff to process that stuff. So
you can kind of just go, like, let's get Joe in, and then you do all the mocap, and then a few months later, after some hard work, kind of then that's
I think so.
And just to clarify, what Toby said before we started recording is everything we're discussing is kind of subject to change, speculation, dreams. It's not that's it. To anyone listening, none of this stuff is locked in stone, so don't take this as like gospel. Carry on.
That's it. So the Kickstarter literally pays for something we can use and test. It pays for the pitch, essentially. It pays for the pitch to make the full thing. So we need to show the big dons what's possible before they then make it for real, the big version. Pretty much that. So hopefully after this stage, we have gameplay that we can then create a trailer for, and once you have that gameplay and once you're playing it, I'm sure that ideas must then just snowball and
for sure.
So that's the kind of process we're relying on, I think, at the moment.
And it'll be just PC initially, right, until it's like
just because that's the easiest way to get it out to the players. So the players, we can instantly get alpha beta versions out to people and get feedback, and they can log. They're talking about logging all of the gameplay and like how that works.
Sick.
And I don't know, what people are doing, what people are missing out, all this sort of thing. Mad stuff. I don't know.
So I got to buy a cheap gaming laptop or something, because I'm assuming.
Isn't it?
It's never going to come to Mac, is it?
It's a weird one. They're already saying they can. I think they're going to be giving us a couple laptops, for example, of their own that are just souped up and just can play the game. So hopefully soon enough we'll have that.
Awesome.
the character graphics are hilarious as well. We're getting through updates and like, yeah, they are fucking funny, man.
I can imagine it's just because the renders at the moment are like the stills are very kind of like dark and shady, and I reckon is that just because it's quite like simple? Like
it's based off like 10 not even 5 photos around our head, like here. That's on iPhone, like bad haircuts and bad lighting, and they just basically make that see-through pretty much and go back and forth until it looks pretty much it, and then move around and then go again.
Fucking hell.
So that's where stuff's wrong at the moment, and then they're talking 50-60 high-res photos are needed to do it properly. And
Jesus.
And if you want, you can rent out these systems that do it all at once. So you just stand stand in a ball, and it just goes flash, and you're done. Or you stand, and then down the line, there's like facial mannerisms and all of that.
God, I didn't even think about that.
Because if you're going to have like talking and stuff in it.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
Well, are you guys going to have to do like little voice acting bits?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm Toby, and I'm going to teach you how to double cat fast. Like,
it'd be pretty cool, though. It'd be pretty cool.
Exactly. Hopefully, yeah.
So, open world or like so.
Well, it was said in the trailer, open world, right?
But you're thinking like
to what capacity? Like what does that mean?
Hopefully, like GTA and stuff like that. Like
really, yeah.
So Santorini links up with IMAX kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like Skate basically.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll be honest. I need to play Skate because it keeps coming up, and
it's very good.
like, it's one of those ones I played, but I don't know it. I don't know it. Yeah.
So Tony Hawk's is maps that you can't move between, and when you're in those maps, you're free. You can either do challenges or you're free to roam them. Whereas Skate is a massive open world.
Yeah, you can go to like different cities and things. And stuff.
Yeah. I suppose, maybe that's just a decision down the line as to if we want it realistic, because it could literally be that you try and run away from IMAX and it says, oh, you're out the map, and it gives you an option to go somewhere else.
Because I reckon like the rendering between, if you do a massive open world thing, I reckon there must be more going on in the back end to make sure that you can run all the way to Santorini. Whereas obviously when you load an individual map, I imagine that's a bit easier for
jump on a plane.
Again, I don't know how. I don't know those questions, but it's we want to create as many real spots as we can, but then just for like a free-for-all Hong Kong rooftop would just be awesome. Just hoon it about there.
Stuff like that you can't necessarily map, so I assume you're kind of gonna like, and also like Santorini, I imagine that'll be.
Oh, I've lost you for a bit.
Oh, you got us? Hello. We're still.
Yeah, that's about the same time as that's weird, isn't it? Just drops off for like.
Audio's still good for our end, so.
Is it? All right, cool.
Yeah, so things like Hong Kong rooftop, Santorini, stuff like that, I imagine that will more be like you kind of have a bit of free roaming, creating a sick place rather than trying to build an exact replica of something that you can't get to.
Yeah. I think whenever any of those spots come up and we start designing them, it will be like, it will be a lot of back and forth. They send us a map and we just, and it's like, oh, there's actually one move in Santorini we want to get in.
Very true, yeah.
Maybe Joe's Gap, or you get a certain church in that had a certain jump from the place. Somewhere like Santorini, obviously you can kind of do what you want, really, can't you? You can put the walls anywhere, and as long as it looks the same. Somewhere like IMAX, we'd love to just be identical, literally the same.
Sure.
And give everyone like 5% more power, 10% more power, do you know what I mean? Finding that balance is going to be hard, because real life jumps are small on a screen, so it's like
very true. Well, that's the whole thing with Tony Hawk's. Tony Hawk's has like realism mode, and then basically the mode that you want to play in, which is like 50 foot of air.
Right, yeah, maybe that's how we do it. Yeah, because they're also talking about like how you should fail, and like how he was describing, I think I said it earlier, like making a fail satisfying. It's like, so when you fail, you go back to your checkpoint, but you've it was funny or something, or it was like, that's good physics, or like we're going to motion capture fails as well, so we're going to just launch ourselves into stuff and fucking just.
I was going to say, have you ever seen Keelan's ragdoll impression?
No, I can imagine it's very
There's
good.
no one better at ragdoll flips than Kelan.
Only in a foam pit.
If we pay the $350 to the Kickstarter,
Please.
Can Kelan come in and do his move? I don't know what the plans are with everyone's individual moves, and Kelan is just ragdoll to the back of his head, and it's like, that's a move.
Mate, it was all the way. Like, the difficulty is going to genuinely be like that, you know, I think there's 50 people on the motion capture thing, like total. So we're going to have to do appointments where it's like 10 people at once. I think so. So bloody we were hell, like, they were like, what do you think about that? And we just didn't give it too much thought. And then people started fucking buying them. But if it's like, Jesus.
I assume you guys are going to cover the fundamentals of like all the. So what if somebody comes in and just goes, oh, I want to do a Kong? Like, how does that
then they can do that, and it'll be somehow integrated.
Oh, because I guess Kongs look different over different momentum and things, don't they?
But is it more that those people are just NPCs like walking around and then they are doing something?
No, that's a different one, isn't it?
No, there is a different one for their face.
Yeah, there's one where you can get your name on the back of like a security guard's jacket and that sort of thing, or you can like that sort of thing. This is all the developers will come up with all this stuff. But yeah, we're not sure. If 10 people turn up and they've never done parkour in their life and they're just like, and they're putting on this motion capture suit, I think we were talking about it yesterday. I just can't remember what was decided. There will be ways of getting them involved, basically, even if it's
I've just had a fucking brainwave that has to be implemented. It's got to be like a 1 in 20 chance when you sort of undershoot a pre that you get an ankle thing and your body is just like
a cooldown.
No, you're like incapacitated for like 5. Like your character cannot do anything else apart from lie on the floor and just hold their fucking leg and just be like,
the Homer Simpson.
Yeah, and it's completely random and you don't know when it's going to happen. You're just like, fuck's sake, like.
Yeah, and the only pass is to unplug your console and plug it back in. It's just so annoying when it happens. Yeah. And you just don't play as Callum because it happens all the time.
Yeah. So speaking of bails and stuff, this was kind of further down our list, but like
the gore factor.
Yeah, and also like if you fell off chunk in.
That was it. That's what I was going to say. We were thinking of turning on and off same way.
Yeah, very easy.
So you can it's off by default.
That makes sense.
You fall into blackness maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's an option where you can just land in a dump truck and get cut in half or something.
Yeah. But then obviously if you like did but then I assume on a lower level thing like just a normal Kong Pre or whatever, you wouldn't have, if you failed it would more be like a motion of just landing on the ground and then getting up again.
Hopefully we can make different ones that they can cycle through.
There's like a height level where you have death and then also just not death, like
exactly or like where you hit the deck and you're on the floor for a bit, like an ankle breaker. Maybe you can get up after 10 seconds.
Yeah, Tony Hawk's and Skate very similar, I think.
Does that change the age rating? Is that something that the developers have talked about?
I guess that's down the line. Then they work out those levels and those limits. I don't really know where they lie, but I'm sure you can make it PG as hell, but then still have satisfying like shinnings and stuff like that, and like awkward. Like it'd be cool if it could just look like it hurts. Like that's what you don't often get on games. Is that they'll hit the deck, but it's kind of like smooth, and you know,
you want to be like, like that.
Yeah, you want it to hit. Yeah,
that's where Skate has that, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, Skate has like a mixture of things they cycle through, but like half that and half ragdoll. So it will be slightly different. And the noises it makes when you hit stuff like rails is horrible. Yeah, like your head hits a rail, it's a proper like, it's like a proper.
Yeah.
Do you guys have to go in and just stand in front of a mic and go like,
Good question. Like Great question. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that must be massive. Even all the sound, the footsteps, the
hand slaps.
Yeah,
because it's and also like a good stick. That must be quieter than a
that's more controlled. Slap. That's going to be more controlled by you guys because I don't think. I mean, with sound design, that's parkour sound, isn't it? They can't just add like a noise. Yeah, because it has to really it has to be a stick noise.
I'd assume that we'll have that as a day one day, and we'll do all of that,
Just do 1,000 pre's and record every one, like.
Exactly, yeah. It's all questions, I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. It's so fun. That's why it's so fun.
It's so fun to talk about.
Yeah, because there's just the sky's the limit, and it's like, oh, what about that?
Yeah. So cycling back a little bit, you've kind of talked about like challenges and missions and things like this. What will that be like are you thinking like a storyline that you have to kind of complete throughout the whole thing, or is it more like in an area you're in Santorini and you discover a challenge or a mission or whatever? Like,
yeah, by the sounds of it, well, what I've heard everyone talking about Tony Hawk's, again, I have played it, but just not enough time to remember how it's structured. But yeah, I'd assume you have the odd little blip where you're in an open world and you can try the stuff that maybe you just got taught by some other character or whatever. Yeah. And then you're in the open world and then maybe you run past something and it pops up like, there's people training at the harbour or something. I don't know. And you go and join Dom on some water challenges in Sydney Harbour. Like,
I was watching his fucking Instagram this morning thinking if you were going to do a DLC of just like the harbour would be so sick. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah. So hopefully, there'll be. I'm assuming there are guys in the development team and other people that will be on that, understand that structure, how that works, how you have like a open world next to missions, in the same kind of thing. Again, like GTA, I've just spent ages on that, so that's how I sort of imagine it. It's like you are running around, but if you want, you can not do that mission, but you can if you want. Don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be ideal. I'm guessing that's the top end though. That must be hard.
And I saw something about, I can't remember if it was in your video or on the page, about kind of like join Storror on like a POV chase. Would it be kind of like, I guess, a similar thing? It's like, you're training with Storror and then something happens and you've got to like do a runaway and things like that.
Yeah, so we were kind of imagining, Benj actually came up with it because we were talking about, do you steal something? Is there a reason? is there a reason to nick something and have to be chased away or something like that? And then he was like, well, what if you literally just have to get a clip of a run on a roof?
Yeah,
and that's
so sick.
And you literally that's it. You have to set up your camera or something, or you have to, maybe not that, maybe you just have to get a line that hits a certain point or something before security rock up, and then when they do rock up, that's your next part of the mission. Now you've got to get away. And it's like, so
I think
hopefully as realistic as we can, as long as it's still fun, I guess.
Skate and Tony Hawk both have things where it's like film a line with someone, right?
Yeah, well, no, there's one where you have to get like front page of Thrasher or something, and you get the photographer comes and you have to do it over like a certain gap. But like, even if there was just another character with a camera and then you're with them, it'd be so cool.
The developers are talking about, keep calling them the developers. I feel like that's a bad name for them. But anyway, they were saying like teamwork would be a massive thing that steps it apart from other games. Is what could make it first of its kind of thing, is a multiplayer element where you can reach over a wall and your mate can now do that jump. Like, so there'll be hopefully there's like teamwork points you can build up. There's like stealth points, doing stuff silently, making sure you stick challenges over water. You just got to get across the harbour, and it is hard. You need to get the judgment right and like hold it down just long enough so you got the power. I don't know, loads of different options, I guess. But
I didn't think about that. So nowadays everything has a sort of multiplayer element, but would it be multiplayer all the time where like there's other people in the area, or would it be almost like single player mode with a multiplayer mode?
I imagine single player mode with a multiplayer mode, where you, in the open world you can, or you can just choose a version of the open world that is there are other people running around. That'd be really cool. Like multiplayer chases is a big thing. So it's like you've got A and B across the city, and you're all racing, and there are shortcuts. And if you use teamwork, maybe there's a shortcut that no one can do, or I don't know,
assisted wall pops and shit like that.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff, and then. Like, imagine up to 3 of you. Imagine 3 of you need to work together online to do something like that. Would be just another level. Like, it would be so cool. Someone at the bottom, someone at the top, like, and you've worked it out all together.
But also, if you could replicate it so that, as you said, it's like easy to start, hard to master. If you could make it so it actually feels like you're like, let's say I go out with Kelan and Keelan's put 12 hours into the game and I've put 1 hour in. And like we're playing online and we've got headsets on, and he's like, we're looking at, I don't know, like a Kong pre-gap. My stats are worse. If you could just replicate that feeling of training with another person,
that would be so cool.
And Keelan's like, you just got to like Or obviously you'd be talking in terms of buttons,
if your stats go up ever so faster if you're with someone who's trained for a longer period of time, so that they're helping you with things.
Replicating the feeling of training with someone else would be so sick.
Yeah.
Be so cool.
It'd be amazing. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine you can progress at a certain rate on your own, but you will progress faster if you're doing it with friends or something like that. Like,
oh my god, don't know how. We'll get this conversation in like 5 years' time where, you know how it used to be like, oh yeah, I do parkour, and then you find out they've only ever trained in like a gym. It's gonna be like, oh yeah, I've trained with them, and it's like, you're like, oh sick, how do you know them? It's like, oh no, I've just trained with him on Storror Parkour
Pro. Yeah, man. It's gonna be strange if it really does end up like the level we're all like dreaming about. Yeah, I think it could be. It's hopefully just great fun for everyone. Like if it gets to the point where it's like it's self-sustaining financially, there's a team essentially that pretty much are just on the game, like for all the upgrades and stuff. And there's a year where we literally just have constant releases of maps and characters. Yeah, it'd be epic. But I just, at the moment, it's all too good to be true.
So far ahead.
Yeah, that's it. So, but also not like their timeline's mad. It's like in less than a year, we should have a game to play. It's mad.
Yeah. That's mad. It is crazy. Kelan had a load of questions actually. What is there going to be? I guess this kind of comes down to your idea of where the challenges and stuff goes, but like, will there be a completion of the game, i.e. the storyline or the challenges? Like, will there be kind of...
Like, have you thought about, obviously we talked about story, the difference between like story and challenges. So whether there'll be like an overlining, like, I don't know, in Skate, for example, your main thing is to sell boards, and that's your like, that's the overall thing, like skateboards. Will there be like a thing you have to do throughout this game that by the end of it, it's like, oh, I've kind of like...
You've turned or something.
Like GTA as well. You can complete the story on GTA and still like do fun things afterwards.
Yeah. That's how I'd imagine it. But
it's hard asking these questions right now, isn't it? But
I actually asked this yesterday on we had a call with the guys, and I asked about that, like, when do we decide this? When do we work? When do we start designing that? When does this work? And anything to do with story, they're just like, oh, down the line.
Yeah. I guess down the line. It's all mechanics, right?
It's all mechanics.
Yeah.
How it plays. The second to second gameplay is apparently number one, which I totally get. It's like, I suppose you're starting it just doesn't work the other way around. I guess. So. But I think to be able to complete something, and by the end of that completion, most people are pretty decent at the game, and then from there you just have free roam, and you can choose what type of challenges you want to do. Do you want to become the water master, or do you want to do the height missions, and there'll be a whole set of height challenges,
you
know, and then a whole set of sticks. Maybe you just want to flow, you just want to. And you can build up your stats like that, and hopefully we just have different aspects the same way we do in the sport.
Wow.
And that all-round athlete, I guess, maybe is your final goal. Maybe, you're trying to
you level out all stats.
That's it. And then from there, what do you do? That you got to keep people playing. Like you release something else. I don't know.
Because it's online. I guess you can just keep releasing stuff like. You can just keep releasing new maps and new
but also challenges. If you can master the fun, because if you can like Skate, I don't know. I mean, I only play it when I'm on your Xbox, which is very, very rarely. I don't think I've played it since Soul Destroyer.
Yeah,
but like that has an overall fun factor where you can just pick it up and bang challenges, even if you've done 100. You're like,
just pick it up. Yeah.
So like, if you can master that, then you've got essentially a timeless game that will go until. The end of the console.
That's why I think it's important that it is mastering movement first, because you can have so much fun even if you release something that's just a small map with movement that's so dialed down.
Oh, it's like
everyone's gonna love it.
Henry's game is so fun, and it's so early days in a way.
Exactly.
Kelan came up with can you move obstacles? Could you get the Mahatma step up block and move
a bench or anything? Do you know what I mean? Like, while you're walking
it'd be
around.
cool to be able to just make your own
gym
park, right? Like have your own gym or something.
That was the other question. Obviously, could you just make your own thing? But if you're on your like open world thing and there's like a trash can, could you move it and use it as a step up block? Like.
That'd be epic.
It would, that'd be great. Customizing the world.
Yeah, man, that would be wicked. Or like, we were thinking about the absolute details of like, oh, you slipped on that, you best give it a brush before your next go, and you blow it off, and
wiping your feet or something. I don't know.
Things. Are certain walls more dusty than others?
Yeah. That for sure is a thing. Like different textures, different. You definitely have to recognise different surfaces, different types of brick and things. So you slip more on one or the other.
Cladding on the side of a building.
Yeah.
Well, what about weather cycles? If it starts raining, what happens then? Do you have to wait it out? Do you have to go and like train in a gym?
Or an undercover spot?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, again, like GTA, you go into your garage and you play with your car. Maybe you go into your garage and you update your gym. Like, maybe that's like, I don't know, like,
Yeah, I mean, so you touched on like create your own, which I think obviously that sounds like a kind of...
I feel like that would be smart for even people who don't do parkour.
Yeah.
If they can create a gym, you'll get some wacky looking gyms that won't be real, but so funny.
Yeah.
Fun to play.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
The other element of that was, do you think it will... I imagine for now you're focusing on like outside spots, but obviously Tony Hawk, I think Skate has indoor, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But Tony Hawk has like the Tampa skate park, which is like a really famous one where they hold competitions and things. Have you thought about like, because I mean, Kelan suggested like, imagine if you had like the Origins gym in Canada and you could go in and like essentially compete in the NAPC skill challenge, and you're up against like, there's so much scope to it, isn't there? Like,
so much stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah, like we just don't like training in gyms in general, so maybe we'll end up literally being like taking the piss out of gyms in the game. I don't know. Like, no, we love them obviously, but just tend not to train in them. But I mean, again, like sky's the limit. I guess it's all I hadn't thought about that, if I'm honest. So yeah, that'd be wicked.
I think it's like crazy.
Being able to design a course would just be wicked, because then you can, like, I don't know, you could put like a takeoff somewhere, or like that suddenly makes a gap possible or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's mad.
I honestly, like you said about the whole like IMAX, you do something and the next day you go and do it for real. Like if you could essentially design your own thing and you were like top spec on the game, because I don't know, I'm thinking of like when Nate Weston did like swing gainer to double cork. Yeah. Imagine doing something in the game and essentially realizing in your head, you're like, shit, that actually might be possible. Like,
well, the difficulty is creating a game where you can like innovate. It's tough to does every move have to be pre-downloaded, pre-done, or can we take elements of a twist and then implement it in the game in a controllable way? Like, I don't know what level of intricacy you can hit, but when we said you can choose your own path, that was along the lines of like a lot of parkour, like elements in games that are just linear. It's like you go in a line, there's a flashing drain pipe, you go up that, then you press it at the right time, you can just tap on whatever, and it's like that just was like, you can pull yourself out of movements, you can drop down if you want, you don't have to clear that ledge, you can rope it in and bounce off and drop down or something. That would be cool if that level of control is there. In terms of creating new moves, that's another one that's like, we said it, but it's like, how do you do that?
How do you do it?
And maybe it's a question they'll literally just be like, oh yeah, you could do that. We could, maybe
take this box.
But then you run the risk then of being like, oh, okay, so you can combine a twist and a vault, for example, and then in the game you're doing some physically impossible thing where it's like, oh, what?
It just takes the realism out.
Yeah. So there'll be a balance. I don't know where we find that, but it'll happen.
Crazy. Yes. I mean, so what's your involvement as a sort of unit over this like next 2-year process? Obviously they're doing kind of all the stuff and you're going to get to gameplay and things, but like how much time, I mean, you guys do fucking everything and you're everywhere. now
so not too much. Really? Not too much. We can't help them with the nitty-gritty, the stuff that takes the real time. It's general consultation. So
it's not like you've got to be back and forth every week for studio visits and things like.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there will be blocks where we have to spend a good few days, for example, downloading and nailing all of the moves, for example, like just getting all of those locked in, knowing how they're going to link together. Then if they don't link together well, is redoing those, creating links in the suits and trying to come up with all of the options. Any option, that's the goal. That's the tough bit. It's not, we don't want to miss stuff out. Yeah. But
hopefully the novelty doesn't wear off of like doing the slog of all the mocap and things.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I suppose we know that's almost the most important bit. Is the dream is that you can play as Benj and it looks like you're playing as Benj.
That's crucial, isn't it?
It looks like you're playing as you guys or whatever, and it's like, that would be epic. If we get the biomechanics of an athlete into a character, it would be fucking so cool. And then we're happy. From there, it's like the game guys will make it enjoyable for everyone to keep playing, I guess.
It's so mad. Crazy.
There's just levels to it that's all a bit scary, and these guys seem to just know how it's going to line up.
Because it's a challenge for them, isn't it? Like they, even if they can't do it, they're probably just like, they sick. Love it. Like, let's work this out.
Yeah. Well, they've got, I suppose, with our following and with our involvement, they now have just a bit more motivation to put time into something that otherwise they just wouldn't have the knowledge to put the time in on. It's like they have the skills to make a parkour game, but they just don't know what to make, I guess. That's the premise of it. And if it's never been done, I'd assume in the gaming world that must be a big thing for them, I guess.
That's sick.
Even though free running did exist on PS2, but we'll ignore that.
There were so many comments. Like, I mean, there were people who were like, "What about Mirror's Edge?" It's like, well, no, that's Mirror's Edge.
Exactly.
But free running was a legit parkour game. But poor Bad.
The guys wrote the poor Bad. Sorry, Bad. Crescent Moon.
Put him in. In. Just have a random guy in a fucking cowboy hat walk past.
I mean,
you know him. He's around.
Maybe there's just like an old people centre, and there's all the OGs.
Literally the UF museum.
You can get kicked off by them by training on their roof or something.
That'd be amazing. And you go past a jail and he's there like rattling the bars.
It's just maybe just wanted all over the city, just wanted, and it's just all the bastards. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
I see. But hopefully that sort of stuff. We have the control. Hopefully, we can get that sorted because that would be just too good.
Because that's the culture. Like that's the thing where, as a non-parkour practitioner who doesn't know the culture, you almost don't. You either won't notice it or you'll question it. But for for us lot, it's like yes, I spotted that because actually I was thinking like if let's say you went and mapped IMAX right now. Currently, I think as far as I'm aware, it's still covered in the graffiti for Johnny. So it's like little tributes like that you can work in, like just sick stuff. Like, be really cool.
I was saying to the guys that there's a bunch of stickers on the lamppost there, and that if they do come with us, we'll get some photos of them, and they can just see where you can
map.
Because you could, if we could get team stickers and stuff from all over the world and in all the spots and like all over, like random little rooftop Easter eggs, you can see a little. I don't know. That'd be cool. But and I'm sure that sort of stuff is actually like, I reckon, I have a feeling that their programmers can like do like mass things. So you create like a generator, for example, or like an aircon unit on top of a roof.
Replicate it. Yeah,
maybe that's how it works. So maybe they literally, I don't know. Yeah, they import 10 stickers from different teams, press a button, and it's all over the map. Like I don't know how it works. Maybe not. Maybe it's literally they have to zoom in on each fucking handrail and do it. I don't know.
I'm very excited for the early glitches that we're gonna get.
In it.
Your head going backwards through the back of your knee.
Exactly.
Proper glitch. So the most crucial question, in my opinion, is
I know this.
What's going on with the soundtrack? Are we getting? I mean, that's a big deal.
Most crucial question. I like that. I don't know. Yeah, we've had a lot of the music emails popped. All of the people. Yeah. So that's big thanks to anyone listening to this that sends in music because we have too much now.
if you got any that you want to throw our way, then what's our one?
Mate.
I think we're music at themotusprojects.com, but I don't really publicise it that much. But
you should. It's honestly like each month. It's a 3-hour job now going through.
Really?
Wow, mate. and there's bangers, there's proper bangers. Oh, I upload a lot of the packs for Sash on Drive, so I'll link you those. I'll link you those. Yeah, man, there's so much.
Yeah, thank you.
But it'd be cool to get in a bunch of them, especially if they're parkour guys. That'd be wicked.
I mean, what does Skate have as soundtracks?
They had to buy a lot of them, I guess.
Well, I mean, yes, because Tony Hawk's, the licensing's fucking insane. Because Tony Hawk's got me into some, like, a good chunk of the music that I still listen to today, like Rage Against the Machine.
Really,
yeah, like stuff like that. So it's like
Crazy Taxi was it for me. That was it.
Oh yeah,
games the radio tunes.
They have that potential, don't they, to just get you into something? So it's like but
well,
also I imagine that's a lot of money to license.
For the tracks, the ones. But yeah, it's a funny one, that, because I can't see a vloggy instrumental working that well if you're running along like a Hong Kong roof in a game. It have to be, I don't know, but maybe like, Clasey Jones, of course, right? Maybe that sort of stuff works for. He was a lot of roof culture, like synthy things. I don't know.
And also, it's the balance of like how much do you want the music in there? Like, it's the balance.
It definitely influences it. I feel like when there's something that sounds more like less beaty and more like a song, it sounds like it's just something playing, rather than when it's an instrumental, it sounds like it's kind of going with it. And it could maybe, but maybe that's like for the rooftops, you want it to be like that to make it feel.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a funny one, that, because that came up quite quick because we had a bunch of people just like, can I be involved, please? And a lot of them were music, surprisingly. I was surprised how many of them jumped on that, because I can't see a lot of those genres working, but maybe it does. I don't know. A lot of the time you probably are playing games and you don't realise there's actually a little beat keeping you in the flow. Maybe you don't clock it, and then there's big, like, it's kind of imagining if you start climbing and the danger starts coming in. If your adrenaline starts picking up, maybe we're getting a bit of low pass, and your music starts to fade away.
Oh, definitely, if you bailed or something and it has like oof, and it kind of everything goes slow or whatever. I imagine if you're doing like the Storror POV thing, and it's like you have to get a clip, you could kind of have not custom tracks, but like it would switch into like game mode, and it would something like that.
And if you turn it on and off or whatever, switch tracks, that'd be cool. Like, do all that.
You can have a little iPhone and you put your audio in, and you're like, shall I listen to music? And you're like, no, I'm going to listen to the Motus Prodcast. And then it's just like 100 episodes of this.
Complaining about you talking about Darwin. Stop fucking talking about Darwin. Move on.
He's not here. I left him at home specifically, so...
Oh, right. Nice. Yeah. Maybe Darwin could be on a roof. Yeah.
I said that.
Please.
Maybe we could get him in, yeah.
Playable character that you find.
Just
just fucking stats out off the roof, like
yeah.
Mocap a dog,
Yeah. Chase down Scott Bass, gnaw his calf off.
There's a lot of fun you can have with this. So, so it sounds like you don't have to be doing too much, rather than like editing it every day kind of thing. So have you got any more kind of game related questions? Because I feel like we covered a lot there.
I'm overwhelmed with how much now I'm thinking of.
That sets your brain
just because I love games so much. So like this is really, it's hurting my head.
What's funny is like half of us aren't gamers in the team, and it's but it's funny how it captivates just, and I assume girls as well, but any boy, when you talk about, mate, if you can make your own Xbox game,
like, oh my God.
You're like, oh my days. It's funny that, because I always thought, a game would be sick. But
this is what I was going to ask. So, obviously, as you're saying, we have all wanted to make games, and obviously all of us have wanted to make a parkour game. In terms of like the Storror timeline, was it something that you were like, fuck, like obviously you're like, oh, we need to make a shoe, like let's focus on doing that. Was it something that you really even had on the cards, and you were like, okay, maybe now's the time to start? Or
for sure it's come into conversation just in the past with parkour people, like is it a thing?
But it was very much just came to you.
Even if I hadn't met these developers and started learning about the kind of processes, I think just to imagine how you start is just insane. If you have any idea how tech works, you just know that a game must be insane to make. So I think for none of us knew where to start, I guess. Maybe we spoke about it and No, it was never in a plan, really.
No,
never.
That's
No, it was just like, and I suppose the only example was free running as well. And when that came out, it was just such an anticlimax. So it's like whatever. If it happens at some point, and then
it's
just
happened.
It's just how it goes, isn't it? Yeah, and it comes through. Yeah.
So it kind of, I mean, we should sort of start to wrap this up before my laptop dies to death. But what, in terms of like, now the world is hopefully starting to kind of calm down over the next 12 months, I imagine, what are you guys going to be focusing on, like, aside from doing this? Like, you got any kind of ideas and plans?
Our film really is central at the moment.
Yes.
We want to make we want to make a 10-year film as good as we can. That's still in early like phases. Certain people might be getting involved from the States, and then we got, you probably know, we got Mike Christie's involved at the moment. Did the interviews for the little Odyssey like tease we did. We wanted something big and heavy and massive on that day, and then we realised, okay, if we tease something else, we take it away from Odyssey. So we've got to make it. We've got to tease Odyssey. That's got to be just got to be the tease. But in sight of the fact that down the line, hopefully we'll release something where it's the best thing we've done. Hopefully, so that's at the moment we want to go into the just psychological side of all the friendships and the build up and like just all of that with help from people that aren't us. That's the first. So it's the first time so that is still really the core, most important number one project at the moment for us.
And is that you still manning the edit on that, or are you like? But maybe not certain parts of it. Like, to say we end up with 50 hours of interviews, I won't be cutting those. But not out of choice. Just there are now like people like Mike Christie that just see words and see a film, and I can't do that. I don't have those skills. So it's like he can look at all of our personalities, look at the stories, and tie them together in a way that we just cannot do. So that's where those guys will come in. So in what way is Mike involved? I saw I think he was credited in the interviews of the trailer or something. But
Mike Christie just director at the moment. So he's just of the story of like how it's all tied together, I guess. We have a vision of a big sequence, big action sequence.
We spoke about this. Like,
I listened to that one. Is it so? Yeah, you pretty much got the right idea. It's like a performance, but hopefully through with all our hardest shit. That's we've never done that before. It's like we tie ourselves together and make the best shot. Now we want to do it all in one. We don't want to. That's fucking cool. That's the goal anyway, and that would be more of like an mounting final sequence to satisfy the parkour side of the film.
Like the Barbican Bolero of Concrete Circus, in a way where kind of everything comes together. Like,
kind of. But instead of a BTS of the film, it's a BTS of our minds and why we're friends and who's a cunt and who's an idiot, and I don't know. It's a funny one because it's like Mike was saying to us early days. He was like, I wish you guys just I wish you guys just didn't get on as well, because it's just like
some drama out.
Exactly. But it's like we're these days we are just one brain. Weirdly just in sync. There's nothing that pisses us off anymore these days. So it's like whatever. It's sort of like that. But it should be interesting. That's what we're focusing on. And then the game is more. There's a bunch of other people putting in the work for that, and we just have to sit here and do stuff when we're asked to do stuff, and give our input when we can. But the film's going to be a lot more up to us, I guess.
Just to clarify to anyone listening, by the way, Mike Christie, who we're talking about, is the director of Jump London and Jump Britain, so he's essentially godfather of parkour.
That's it.
What's the timeline on the film? Like, is it as and when?
At the moment, it's taken back steps now because it's a slightly bigger deal. So it's taken back steps to make sure that the everyone involved knows what they're getting, I guess. So it's taken those back steps, and then once that's locked in, then we come back to the start of like, right, we're going to go here, we're going to go here, we're going to talk about this.
Sick. So you are planning a bit of a I remember, like, this is way ages ago, but like someone talking about 10 year, and you were like, oh, we should revisit some of the famous places that kind of made Storror.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing revisits, but then we realised that that's the opposite of what we actually are, what we try and we try and be about. We want to be somewhere new. We want to be out of our comfort zone. And we realised if we go back somewhere, we are just safe. We are just in our safe zone.
What you did,
we're in our comfort zone. And when we're in our comfort zone, like, you lose an edge for sure.
Yeah.
So we just want to fucking go somewhere we don't have a clue what's going on and try and make that's where the cool shit happens.
Make a film about the last 10 years, but in a completely new environment, basically.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So I think what we're going to be doing on location won't be the center of it. It's going to come away to us, to the interview, to archive, to old footage. There's a massive chunk of it will be archive and storytelling, and just interview about us. Really, I think that'll be it, and then it'll be created into something, and we just need that parkour fix, and that's where we come in with the sequences and the new stuff.
Sick.
That's
movement gonna be wise.
It's gonna be wicked for your newer fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just feel a little bit more grown up than we ever have. I think that's sort of it. So it's like, it's the time now to be able to ask those awkward questions and go through how we really feel about our fucking identity, I guess. It's like that. It's going through all of that, which will just be so fascinating and so positive for everyone to get to talk about. Hopefully interesting, for everyone else. And the way we would make that story is just so influenced by the fact that we have been in it. So if I see an interview that is talking about something I was a part of, I have that emotional attachment that makes it hard to leave that out. It makes it hard to forget it. And if it doesn't have relevance to the story, like, I don't know that, I don't have that third person perspective, like, so that'll be an interesting thing to see. Already the interviews we used for the Odyssey tease, there's stuff in there which I was like, oh my god, that's good. And then Mike just didn't even pull the select, didn't even put it in. But it's all like, it's good. Like, he sees an arc that makes sense. And I see an arc that makes sense to me. Like, and it's so hard to know if you're where your opinion lies on that. You can't know if it's you. You can't ever know if you're. So that's what's exciting about this one. Really.
I don't know if I told you this. When I worked on when I did all the like off the edge tours, I spent a couple of weeks in LA prior to going out on those tours, and they were obviously finishing up editing Off the Edge, which is Corey and Jesse's documentary. And so that was edited by a woman called Carol, who I can't remember her surname. She edited she's like a skate documentary editor. She edited Waiting for Lightning, which is the Danny Way film about him jumping in the Great Wall of China.
Oh yeah.
And what she did, she got somebody they did all the interviews, they transcribed them to text, and then they read through all of that and then use that to put, like, they basically then wrote out a script. So from like hours of interviews, they essentially took the content and wrote a script of like how the narrative was going to flow, and then realized that also in the rare occurrence that they needed to kind of almost construct a sentence or like make something flow a little bit better, they would also have this document that they'd go, oh, we need somebody saying but, and they type in but, and it would do the highlight all the buts in the thing, and then they could find the time frame of each interview, and they could listen to that but and go, okay, that's the right one.
What the fuck?
It's fucking crazy. Like,
that is effort.
Super cool.
I mean, that happened for that teaser. That's literally like that was our version of it, and then since then there are different versions, all designed by Mike with that same process.
That's sick.
Not finding these separate words because we're not at that stage of like nitty gritty, but the general art is fascinating to watch. Like, my version is like this, and then he's literally like, right, do this, and then do that, and do this, and it's suddenly you've got a story you can follow, and it's like it's mad how Mike's mind works on that front, and it's cool to see, because you do, especially in Storror doing what we do, I've started to feel like because I'm the only one in front of the screen a lot of time doing the edit, I know best. It's like you get used to that. You get used to like, oh, I know best because I'm always the one making the decision, and then it's really, really cool to have someone rock up. with a whole different skill set, and Mike
is so fucking good at that. Like anything I've worked on where he's done anything directory or stuff like that, it's so cool to watch. Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. It's hard to decipher here and there. Sometimes I find it hard to follow instruction because he has his process, something in his head and we're all the same if we do anything creative. It's hard to get it across. But it's been fascinating to see him deconstruct my version of something, switch it up, and then give a new version. I've never had that before. It's really cool. Because if we did finish our videos midweek every week, and we had a few days before the Monday to get it out, then that would have already happened. Do that, that would happen way more with the team. You get that feedback. You get more of like a all-encompassing project, but it's just not reality of it. We will be editing till midnight on Sunday till the end of time. That is Jesus. Anyway, it is. We've done an hour and a half for this, so we should probably we should let you have the rest of your day. But we have one more thing to do, which we do with all our guests, or we've now started that we've got this sound pad, so you can hit the button, Kelan. Loser! Wrong one.
Top five.
How are we going to do this?
Well, we just shake the shit out of the pot, and then so what this is our top 5, where we get our guests to give us a top 5.
Athletes.
Anything. We've got a pot. We got a pot.
Right.
So I'll shake it. Say when to Kelan.
Oh God, when?
All right, grab something. What we got? Top 5
brands. Top 5 brands.
Oh,
that's quite hard.
You can have a refresh if you really want one, I reckon.
But that's any brand.
Any brand.
For anything.
Could be clothing. Could be sport. Favorite. Could be anything.
Oven brand.
Tough.
Range that's Master. Tough. Who's got you on?
Kitchen appliances.
Yeah, this is the thing, you see, because I have coffee every morning. Breville coffee maker, like Breville. It's decent, but there could be, it could be better.
Mince pie. You're a big mince pie man, I've seen.
Massive.
What's your top mince pie brand?
It would be the M&S Primo collection. Those ones.
Oh, fucking hell!
They're slightly smaller.
That's that YouTube money on M&S mince pies.
No, it's the distance from my house. Literally, I just can't be bothered to go the next corner to Sainsbury's.
That's me with Waitrose. It's Waitrose or Tesco's. Waitrose is literally 200 meters closer.
Yeah. It makes a difference. It does make a difference. Yeah, but the M&S collection are slightly smaller, just pack a bit more punch with the dust on top. But, what I like to do is, guys, don't cut me up when I'm talking about mince pies.
Okay, I was going to ask a cool question, but go for it.
I'm joking. No, I like to crush them with a spoon. So you crush a mince pie with the back of a spoon. Yeah. It splays out, and then when you pour your cream in the middle, it stays there.
Do you not warm them up with ice cream?
Not with ice cream, no. That's a whole new taste. The cream's just got to help the mince pie. You don't want to overtake it with too much flavour.
I haven't done any of those things.
I either go in raw or I warm them up, which I will crush. Or you crush it and then you put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds and then bang some ice cream on top, and that's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. I just find the raisins go crispy. But anyway, next then.
Well. Okay. Fuck top 5. What are your top 5 things that you can't live with at the moment? So we got
live without.
We live without. Yeah. So mince pies are 1. It sounds like Breville coffee.
That's 2.
What gets Toby going? What do you need in your life? Those top 5 things.
Coffee, mince pies.
You got to tread careful if you don't mention Beth here.
Oh right.
Well, you don't have to, but
tread careful. I could. It would be hard to live without Beth. That would be quite tough. No, that's 3 then. So we got coffee, mince pies, Bethany Jennings.
Yeah.
2 more.
I want the little things. Those little things that add to your life and just icing on the cake.
Yeah. Storror socks. Since they've existed, no other pair of socks.
Really?
No way.
Yeah. So honestly, if you haven't tried them, fucking make any shoe feel just way better.
There's your plug there.
That's sick.
Oh, I'm not even joking either. And the problem is they wear through quite quick. But when they're fresh, mate, Jesus, they're like, honestly, they're
Is your sock
good.
drawer just store a sock, like fucking the same stocks across
Literally,
the whole
mate.
thing?
Yeah, fully, just lined up all of the old Christmas ones at the back.
Yeah.
And then the final little thing, I don't know. If just parkour, if I'm absolutely honest.
For that.
I mean, that's quite a big thing now, but yeah, I'll let you have it.
I know, but if I couldn't jump off stuff, I'd just
implode.
I'd just disintegrate slowly and psychologically. Yeah. No, there's probably some way better answers to that.
Yeah, you'll think of them. You'll be like doing up your laces, and you'll be like, "Fuck, I love these laces" or something. Like,
carabiners, man, I fucking
you
love
do
carabiners.
love a carabiner, yeah. You love a carabiner.
Oh, I love
that can
it,
replace
man.
Beth. That's fine.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, shall we do our fake goodbye and then we'll do the real goodbye?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Goodbye, Giles. Goodbye, Kelan.
This has been the Motus Prodcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you're new, because there's probably going to be a wave of the Storror army coming in. So hello everyone.
Hello.
Sick. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you like it and all that, and we'll catch you next time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just hit this little
Rock and
button.
roll.
Love you. Bye.